friends! How are you all doing today? I've had a heck of a day, by which I mean week, by which I mean month, by which I mean this year. What a year, huh? Oh, me. Wait, hold on. I'm gonna shimmy this up here. There, good. There, is that good? That's good. That's probably good. Hi! So, where to begin? By which I mean this life. Yeah. I have stories, I have things goings-on to talk about, and I figure that now is a good moment to do just all of that. I don't have my hand tracking. Is my face tracking good, though? Is that looking okay? I think? I don't know, I can't tell anymore. I don't have my hand tracking today, because my arm is still in a sling. See, I had needed a surgery for, checks the clock, over 20 years. Hello, Draconis. Hello, Guy. Hello, Trinity. Hello, Phantos. Hello, Getty. Hello, Trinity again. Wait, I already said that. Hello, Tori. Hello, Solanum. Hello, Lamp. Hello, Hensha. You're all wonderful beings who I love. And everybody who's in the comments and everybody who's watching this, who don't want to type out, just know that I appreciate you too. So, I needed a surgery for my shoulder. You see, I primarily attribute it to lacrosse, though honestly it is just kind of a genetic thing. Did you know, this is true, did you know that ADHD has a common comorbidity with being extremely flexible or loose-jointed? That's true, that's just a fact. Having ADHD and having loose joints, or having a high flexibility rating, is actually linked. I, who has a lot of ADHD, also am extremely flexible. When I was in high school, they did the whole, testing stuff. And I had the second highest sit and reach and flexibility scores of the entire class. Boys and girls. I have always been extremely flexible. Well, this is not always a good thing. It usually is. Honestly, my flexibility has been a large benefit in quite a number of things. Anyways, the downside is that I have easily dislocatable shoulders. I can be doing things and my shoulder, specifically my right shoulder, will simply fall out of socket. And by which I mean, it will actually do a full dislocation, as in the ball is no longer in the socket, it is actually over. The ball socket actually goes on a holiday and ends up over here, where it's not supposed to be. That's not great. It's extremely painful. Someone once told me that it's one of the worst pains that humans can feel, which I doubted, honestly, because I'm thinking torture pains. I'm thinking waterboarding or the stuff under the nails. I'm thinking car crashes. I'm thinking no. There's no way this is more powerful than anything like that. Then I had my lung surgery, and when they asked me what my pain was after my lung surgery, I said 4. I think it was that stupid out of 10. I'm terrible at the out of 10 thing anyways, because my pain scale is completely skewed, because to me a 10 means the worst pain that you can possibly imagine, and to me, that definitionally has to be higher than anything I've experienced, right? Well, the highest I've experienced is shoulder dislocation while struggling to get out of a pool, trying to use the shoulder, and that was very painful. So I would have to put that as a 9, with 10 being a theoretical thing that's worse than that. So I put my lung surgery at a pain scale of 4. just to give you, this is not actually about the lung surgery. I've talked about that before. This is just to give you a scale for how bad these dislocations can be. But the thing is, here's the thing. It's not chronic. There's no idle pain. There's no passive pain in the shoulder whatsoever. There's no regular pain at all in the shoulder, which it only is painful when it dislocates. Well, it dislocates a lot. So, I had a surgery to fix this. So you see, back when I needed this, back in the 90s, yeah, that's right, back when I needed this in high school, I was told that the only surgical option was very likely to cause chronic pain, as in I would be in pain constantly forever. And I'm like, no, I don't want that. I will live as normal a life I can and suffer through the 15 minutes of severe pain to be able to avoid infinite chronic pain forever. Plus, it was also the 90s, so I would have been put on opiates. It just would have been very bad. So, well, last year, I was trying to install a shelving unit. The shelving unit was over my head, and the entire thing collapsed on me. I was actually in a voice call on my Discord channel at the time. Actually, some of my mods can confirm that I was, in fact, trapped under a shelving unit for, like, half an hour. Just, normal things. Yep, Buck was there. Just like, that's bad. That's probably not a good thing. Maybe I should see if there's even any surgeries that have come out in the past 25 years, maybe something that can, make my shoulder not detonate? Turns out there was. And the best thing about it is that the surgery is French. I'll explain why that's important in a few minutes. But the general thing is that it would dislocate. I would need to wait 10-15 minutes for my muscles to relax enough that I could just die-hard it back in. Just take the shoulder and just relocate it forcibly. Which I just did, and then it was sore for the next 48 hours, then it was fine for the next couple weeks. And I would usually get a dislocation like at its worst, every other week, at its best, once every 6 months. And yeah, it was not fantastic. So. It's French. That's good. That's a good thing. Yes, I am saying that being French is a good thing. That's impressive. That's an impressive statement right there already. It's serious if I am praising the French. Actually, I think the French people are actually very cool, but regardless. So, a regular American surgery, we'll say that. An American surgery is one that fixes the problem a little bit. It solves the problem and says, okay, fine, you're good enough, go. That's how, if we're being perfectly honest, that's how American surgeries work, right? That's normal. That's how normal things work. Well, this surgery is made for rock climbers. This surgery is made for kayakers. This surgery is made for athletic individuals. This surgery is made so that not only does it fix the problem, but my shoulder should, theoretically, be better than before. It will be better than before. Not simply just a little bit of a fix, go on, you're fine, but an actual improvement on the joint so that I can go back to rock climbing. I love rock climbing. Like, for a long time, my keychain was a carabiner that saved my life because it supported me after a fall. That's true. Of course I'm the kind of person that kept their keys on a carabiner. You knew that in your heart. You've always known that about me. Don't pretend this is a surprise. If you look at me and you say, that's a girl who keeps their keys on a carabiner, you know that to be true. That's just a fact. Hello, Keru. Well, I can go. I should, in theoretically, once it happens, be able to go back to rock climbing. I should be able to go back to kayaking, which I just got a kayak like a year and a half ago or something, and I've been wanting to use it, but I've been nervous because if my shoulder dislocates while I'm on the kayak, I die. Like, that's just how that works, right? Like, one time it did happen. One time I did have my shoulder dislocate in the water, and my grandfather pulled me out of the water. Like, and he said in his very very elder boomer sort of way, "Well, looked down and I saw them in the water. No one else looked like they had any clue what was going on. They didn't. No one else seemed like they noticed, but seemed like something was wrong. So jumped in, pulled her out." Simple as that. I could have died. Just my shoulder was completely not fine. So, surgery done. Surgery done. And Monday I start physical therapy, and in the next week I'll be able to drive again. So I've been driving for the past 3 weeks, actually. When I went to my first doctor appointment, they said it'll be another 3 weeks before you'll be able to drive. And I just looked at my doctor and said, "How exactly do you think I got here? I'm curious. This is a rural area. This is like there's no public transit." And it's just like, "Okay, well, how do you think I got here?" And the doctor looked at me and just like sigh, just good times. So I'm fine now. I'm gonna be fine. I'm not fine now. I'm going to be fine. Also, I've had a project. I've also lost my job. Fun fact. We'll get to that in a moment. That's coming up in just a moment. But first of all, I had a project at work. And that project it's a small company. When I say it's a small company, I mean like you can count the number of people involved on your fingers. So it's not like, this is some giant megacorp or anything. This is a small company that builds custom computers. We've done a lot of amazing things. I have single-handed... If you saw the Red Bull ads, the Red Bull Extreme Sports ads on TV from any time between 2015 on, all of those were done on computers that I personally built. I've worked on Roger Ebert's home theater PC. I've worked on a major motion picture that you may have seen. I can't say which one because of NDA, but I've done a lot of cool stuff with this job. And there was a project that is literally going to be managing the power grid for the entire West Coast seaboard. And that just needs to be done. But again, this is a small company, and I'm the one who builds computers. And I have 10 servers to build that all need to be running high-end, overclocked 3U server case systems that are going to be running 24/7. So there's no one else to do it, which means I don't have off work, which means that, you get to take, 3 weeks off of work, Jade. That'd be cool. Ain't happening, but that would have been cool. That probably would have been a lot better for my shoulder. My shoulder probably would have healed, would have healed better if that was the case. That wasn't the case. It just couldn't happen. Like, what am I going to do? Just, like, no one else can do it. They're not going to hire on somebody else just for this one project. And I just had one of my coworkers do the, lifting up the computers and helping with that. And I just tried to do as much as I could left-handed. And I feel like I deserve a vacation. I feel like I needed this surgery because I feel like when your body is healing from surgery, you're effectively doing a half-mile marathon every single day. That's what your body is doing. Your body's putting so much energy, so much effort into healing that you need to not be putting any extra strain on it. You need to not be adding to that because your body is already going through marathon levels of training worth of efforts to be able to repair the area, to be able to re-knit the muscles and build the scar tissue and all that stuff. But I couldn't. It sounds worse than it is, but it's also pretty bad, so I don't know if it actually is worse than it is. But I simply couldn't take off work. It just wasn't an option for me. YouTube wasn't paying the bills. It's not yet. And that's my job. Thank you so much, Solana. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness, thank you so much. That really does help. That will help so much. Is that gonna run 5 times? Or is that just gonna run the twice? Because we just needed for the 2. Okay, cool. Congratulations to Bucks. Okay, it's gonna run 5 times then. Okay, so it's gonna keep on going then. This is. Are you done? Are you done now? Okay, so. Okay, I get it. We're all appreciative. You only really need to ring this once for all of them. We don't. Are we good? Are we? That was 6. There was 5 gifted subs. How much? Okay, I think we're good. Water. Oh yeah, by the way, since we have a lot of people here who have been coming in more lately off of TikTok and whatnot, if you hear this noise, that's my water bucket. I have a bucket of water that at my desk that I drink out of, and a metal straw. So if you ever hear that, you know the secret. That is that I am hydrating. So, I need some time off. But I don't want to take time off of streaming because this actually gives me energy. This makes me happy. This fills my heart with joy. And I love that. But I definitely need time off of work. And I'm gonna have that soon. Because even though I'm finishing this project, even though this project is going to bring in basically my salary for the year, the company is not going to be around. Company's going down, which means I'm going to be without a job. Not because of any failure on my part, not because of any lack of effort, not because of anything that was even within my agency. Quite literally, some of our major suppliers changed the way that they supply, frankly. And as a result, any indie company, any company that isn't buying 10,000 processors and 500 cases at a time is going to be struggling. So definitely pour one out for anybody in that situation, because there's a lot of small businesses that, well, we always like to pretend small businesses are back of the economy. We believe in small businesses. And then they just let small businesses get, screwed over left and right. That's normal. That's just how our culture works, unfortunately, and that includes YouTubers, absolutely. But yeah. Oh, congratulations, Keru. Thank you so much. Are you gonna do a thing? No? Do you have anything to say about that? Okay, so I'm nervous. Are we? Okay, I think we're good. All right. So the company is going to be going under, but I had to finish this project, which means that I simultaneously couldn't take off of work for medical leave, and am going to be losing my job. I also came out fully locally as transgender recently. I mean, you guys all knew I was transgender, but I didn't really make a big. I generally still dress masculine on the day-to-day, just because, well, comfort. Because dressing, presenting as femme takes more effort. It just simply does. You have, between makeup and outfits and the fear. The fear. We don't talk about the fear very often, but there's a fear in presenting as feminine if you are born masculine. That is a genuine fear, and, well, one that I hadn't really been willing to overcome until this month. I had here and there, but now I'm just like, no, screw it. I'm happier like this. I deserve this. I deserve to be able to present as feminine and be happy. So I am. Hi, I'm a girl. And like, I was feeling really good about not even presenting femme, about just wearing like shirt and pants, shorts, like just wearing regular masculine stuff and still passing as feminine. Like seriously, I would just be wearing like a sports bra and in regular clothing, and I would still be getting called ma'am, which honestly just felt spectacular, felt stellar. But I've been reserving my, I'm going to go all out and focus on presenting feminine for convention spaces, for vacations, like when I went out to Vegas, for times where I knew I was going to have friends with me in case anything went sideways. And, well, now I have the confidence to do that full stop. I just, am. I mean, it's not like I can really hide my breasts anymore. Yeah, so, like, that's cool. It's a good feeling. It's a good thing. So I applied to a library. I don't know if I'm going to get that job, but I'm really hopeful for it. Because I think that would be a good place. I want to work at a place where I make people happy. So let me explain something. There was a strong difference between when we started the company and when about half the way through when the company shifted. It shifted from people calling in and me building custom computers and walking them through the design process and being like, what games do you play? Okay, well, this game is going to want to have this, this, and this. We need to cut you. We can, you're going to want to have a solid-state drive, but you're also going to have a storage drive. Make sure that you install Warcraft onto the storage drive, because the solid-state drive is not going to give you any improvement over the storage drives in terms of read and writes for that particular game, because the Warcraft as a game concentrates on smaller, focused data files, which are not going to be read as in sequence. So if you put it on the solid, just a whole bunch of information, just being able to custom craft an exact system for a person. And I loved that, and I built it, and the people got it, and I would regularly get a call. I would get a call a day from someone just saying, hey, I got the system, this thing rules, this thing screams, this thing's fantastic. And then at some point, probably around 2018 or so, maybe 2019, before COVID even, that changed. It changed, and people just stopped buying custom computers. And to stay around, we had to sell like Lenovo and Asus and these other computer companies, that resell, sell theirs on Amazon, and work on partnerships with them. And they would have this pricing for us that says, hey, you're a smaller business, so we can give you these better prices that we usually reserve for people who are ordering thousands of units. And that's how we built our business. It was like, okay, cool. We can get these good prices, and we can actually compete price-wise and live in the same infrastructure, live in the same network, live in the same space as these bigger companies. And that's what went away, but that's not important. What I'm saying right now is the change from making people happy to making money. When you are building a custom computer and working with somebody and working with someone as a team and building the system of their dreams, something that can handle their wildest flight sim dreams, that feels good. I know I'm making someone happy. I know I'm making a difference. I know I'm doing something that someone likes. When somebody places an order for a Lenovo laptop on Amazon and I get it and I box it up and I put it out the door, no one cares. Yeah, they probably are happy they got it, but there's no joy, there's no happiness, there's no emotional connection. I'm not making someone happy. I am just a cog in a machine at that point. I went from being the one who made people happy with these amazing custom systems to being somebody who packed up boxes of laptops, hard drives, and glue and shipped them. And that's the shift that I didn't like. That's when I felt my heart go out of the job. Would I take individual commissions for that? Absolutely. Yeah, I absolutely would. Feel free to hit me up anytime. I would be glad to do that. Yeah, absolutely. That's something that brings me great joy. After my arm's better. So, give it a month or so. But yeah, no, that is something that I would be more than happy to do on the side. So, in looking for a job, so technically my title was vice president. Fun fact, I actually was a quote-unquote executive. Now, again, 10 people in the company, less than 10 people in the company, small company. So it's not like it's that big a deal. It's not like, I'm an executive, I can do all the things. No. It was just, a few people, but that was my official title. And it was a multi-million-dollar company, so I can say I was vice president for a multi-million-dollar company. So technically my resume is phenomenal. Like, my resume is out of this world good. Like, genuinely bonkers tier. This isn't going to open up on stream, right? No. Cool. But, like, yeah. So I have, effectively 12 years of vice president, plus 20 years of department manager for video programming at anime conventions, plus, like, a lot of jobs like to have these fancy things. And here's my resume advice for you. When you are doing a resume, especially if it's for a unique position, if you're just like an associate or a salesperson, they don't really care about this. But if it's for a more specialized position, they care about who they're hiring. Pardon me. So I have an entire page on my resume that's labeled initiatives. Trained a therapy dog, YouTuber, black belt, third degree black belt, game designer. I actually have game store community manager, which I did for a while. Those are actually on my resume. Those are actually listed on my resume under initiatives, because I think that'll be important to someone. I feel like that is going to be good. But I want a place that I can make people happy. I don't want a place that's just driven by profits. And, like, that's the world, right? Especially with people that are going to be paying decent wages, right? The world is profit-driven right now. And that's why I'm hopeful about this library job, because, well, a library makes people happy. If I can get, an IT manager position at a library, could be a good position for me. If I could get, like, I could get, $300,000 a year at a bank or someplace, like a hedge fund corporation, that wouldn't make me happy. That wouldn't be doing things that make people... I'm an actress! At the end of the day, I'm an actress. Now, I don't realistically think I'm going to get an acting job, and even if I did, I don't necessarily want a gig-style acting job where I'm going to be guaranteed to be out of a job in a year or two, or as soon as this project is done shooting. I don't even know if I want that, even though that's my core, but this core value is still there. The core goal is still there. My dream is to make people happy. And for a while, I had that at the computer company. For a while, the computer company was about making people happy. And I miss that. And I've missed that for a while, and it's not like that anymore, and it's not going to be like that anymore. But I want something where that's the case. I want something like that. Like, yeah, what if I make, 6 figures, and then I can travel, and I can make myself happy by... Tara, please. Or I can make people happy, and then, through donations. Or maybe I get a job that just pays bills, and then I make people happy through YouTube, which I've been doing, which is why I love this so much, because I genuinely feel like I'm entertaining people. I feel like you guys... I enjoy this. I feel like you guys are happy that I'm doing this. And that's what means the world to me. But I don't know if that kind of job is something that I can find. Like, I don't want to work for a school because I don't like kids. I don't necessarily want to work for, just a random bank. I don't find joy in that. And I realistically have to work from home. Like, I can technically take a train into the city, but, like, this is just... it's a ways. I live in the middle of nowhere. I live in the middle of nowhere. I really do, and I love it here, and I can't lose this house. I am one of the few people in my age bracket who owns their property. I actually own this land. Like, yes, property taxes are a bazillion dollars a year, but I actually have this place. And I need to keep it. Which means I need a job. Otherwise, like, every fiber of my being is saying, Jade, do YouTube full time. Just do it. You could do it. Start streaming every day, 8 hours, the way Sprig does it. Start putting out video essays. Have GD look them over and make sure that, you know, your sanity check you and make sure you're doing a good job, you know? You have these skills. You have this power. Go for it. Go for it. Go for it. I can't go for it. I'm too scared. I can't lose this home. I want to, but YouTube barely pays for YouTube. That's the honest truth of it. And I appreciate your support. I'm not begging. This is not me begging for support. This is me talking about where I am and what I'm going to do next. This isn't me saying, you know, but if you just gave me $1 a month on Ko-fi, it was a subscription. No. This is me saying... This is me saying that I want to chase my dreams. But I don't think I can right now. And that is a whole lot of emotion to process. That is a whole lot of emotion feelings to process. This idea that I know what I want. I know the job that I want, and I'm already decent at it. I know the job that I could have. I can do a good job with editing. I am a decent at editing. I know a lot of my stuff has been bare bones lately, but I know my way around the editing software. I know my way around script writing. I know my way around content creation. I mean, I've broken 10K followers on the TikToks, and that's with only uploading like a TikTok a month, which I'm also ashamed of. I should be doing more of that, but regardless. So I know what would make me happy. But I don't think I can do what makes me happy. And that's a tough pill to swallow. That's hard, right? Like, it doesn't even sound like it's that far away. One of my dear friends recently posted on the Discord and said, I need content creation to work out. And I'm just sitting there thinking, I'm going into this with a fine arts degree. I'm going into this with a background, with, you know, having done a job that focused on improv acting for 7 years. Like, I've had this experience, and I'm where I am. I wish them the best, but it's gonna be harder than they realize. And I don't want to delude myself into failure. I want you to imagine someone who won the lottery. I want you to imagine somebody who won jackpot in the lottery, and they go on the news and they say, listen, buy lottery tickets. It just works. It's the way to make money. I bought my lottery tickets and I made my millions, and that's how you get rich. You'd laugh at them. You'd mock them openly. You would, and rightly so. We all would. Isn't this the same thing? Isn't this the same thing? How is this different? How is it different to say, all I need to do is go viral, all I need to do is get 60,000 followers so that I have enough, enough of a paycheck to have a full-time job? How do I say, yes, I can just go all in on this? I can't take that risk. And I don't think a lot of people can. This is unfortunate. This is a passion for me. But it's not a passion. And I'm also not building up to like I'm retiring, I can't do. No. I'm doing this for as long as I can because I love this. It makes me happy. I just am relaying some of these realities because these realities are very quickly turning into my lived experience with a conundrum. And, well, where does that leave me? I'm pretty sure that my boss will let me take will let me quit the job before the doors close, but still have me listed as on payroll. That is to say, still have me listed as, oh yes, they're totally working here. Because having a gap in your resume is much harder. You know? So, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a month, maybe 2, off. Do a couple of resumes here and there, see if there's any bites, but just try to sit back and reclaim my life. Reclaim this time, because I haven't really had sick days, like I said. This is not new. I've come into, I haven't had a sick day in, outside of the mandatory ones when I was, on surgical pain medicine. I haven't really taken sick days. I haven't really taken vacations. Not meaningfully. I mean, yeah, I go to a consumer electronics show every year, and they usually stay out there with one of my closest friends for a week to 10 days, but that's it. That's as close to a vacation as I got, and half of that is a work trip. You know? So I think I might try to actually relax for once. See, I'm a shark, If a shark isn't swimming, it's suffocating. If a shark is not moving, it begins to die. And that's always how I felt. I've always felt like if I'm not doing something, I am a failure to myself. If I am not active, then I am not doing enough. And if I'm not doing enough, then what could I possibly deserve? It's a toxic mindset. It is a toxic mindset, but the problem is it's true. That's why it's so easy to convince yourself of it. It's why it's so easy to say that this is this is true. That's why it's so easy to convince yourself, is because a part of it is. A part of it is true. And that doesn't make things easier. Just edge into it a little bit at a time, see what you can support and how much it can support you. And that's what I've been doing. And that's, like I said, right now, YouTube can support YouTube. Getting games and stuff from YouTube is supporting YouTube. And YouTube is able to support, the software that I use. Now, right now, I have the software and the hardware. I have a Shure SM7B. I have a Stream Deck. I have my ARKit phone. I have everything I need right now, which is great. I have literally no wants for things other than like building an entire sound room, which realistically I could do. I actually have the materials to build my own sound room, but that's my plan. I'm going to keep on doing YouTube because, well, YouTube can support YouTube. I can keep on doing YouTube without fear. YouTube doesn't lose me anything but time, but that time is the best time I can possibly spend. What is a better use of time than something that brings you happiness? What is a better use of time than something that brings happiness to others? What else in my life could I even consider that would bring me as much as YouTube has? I don't know. And I don't want to know, because I want this. I want this. And I'm going to keep this. I'm going to keep this, and I'm not going to let it go. But I'm also going to need to do something else. Even if it's just a small part-time thing, even if it is going into the city and working for a bank. I'm going to have to find something, and I have this pipe dream right now because I have enough saved up to coast for a little while. I can just live for the sunny side of a year, realistically, but honestly, speaking, without dipping into like retirement and long-term funds, I can keep on living. And in that time period, I'm going to focus my applications on places that bring people happiness. I'm going to focus my applications on places where my work will bring joy to others. Maybe I'll find a work at a local theater. Maybe I'll find work at the library. Maybe I'll find work somewhere that makes something, or shows something, or does something for people to make them happy that isn't just fulfilling an Amazon order, that isn't just sending out glue, that isn't just stocking a shelf for somebody who's never going to be thanked for their work. And then after that time, I will have to take whatever I can get. After that time, I will no longer have that luxury. I will no longer have that choice. I will have to look for jobs, and I will have to take whatever is available. I will have to start accepting these interviews from places that I wouldn't want to work, from places that wouldn't bring me joy, from places that would make me suffer, that would make me regret work, that would make me suffer in my job. And I know that's the baseline default for most people, and that's unfortunate. That's sad. That's difficult, because everybody should have a job that makes them fulfilled. A cook should be able to make food that makes people smile, not fulfill menu recipes because that's what corporate decided the menu should have. A garbage person should be making people happy because they're removing the trash, because they are going out and doing a valuable service, but they are not respected. Somebody who stocks shelves should still deserve respect for the work that they've done, and they don't get it because it is expected. It is assumed. It is assumed that it will simply happen. So I have a year, maybe less, to try to find a job that brings me happiness. And that might be a tall order. That might be a tall order indeed. And thank you, Conthea. I do need a hug. You might be touch-focused, but it sounds like you need a hug. Yeah, I am an introvert. It might sound strange to hear that, coming from somebody who is screaming on YouTube for so many hours of the day, but I am, at the end of the day, an introvert. I like my privacy, I like my corner of the woods, and I like where I am. But yes, a hug would be very much appreciated. Thank you. Oh, the other one I applied for recently was a park ranger job. Again, the idea that what I do makes people happy, that will not be just profitable, a place where there is more than just work for work's sake. You found me on YouTube, I'm an amazing streamer. Thank you so much. Playing, you enjoying the Dawn of Sorrow? Nice! Yeah, that was a really fun game. I'm gonna keep on going through all of the Castlevania DS games, and I'm probably going to focus more on emulation and indie games for a while, because money, right? You know, that's self-explanatory. So I'm going to be focusing more on, what was this one? I have access to Nightmare Cart, I have Pokemon Crystal League, which I might be trying soon. What is this again? Oh yes, I have Project Shoreline, which is going to be one of the next series that I start up as well. Project Shoreline is going to be exciting. But I'm going to focus more on the indie sphere for a little bit. You just come up with your new identity, Kaoru, when you first saw me on YouTube Shorts? Aw, thank you. You're the first Kobold streamer content creator that you ever saw. I am one of the first, actually. It's between me, Sprig, and I forget their name. One of the I don't interact with them much, but there's another one who started around a similar time. We are some of the earliest Kobold content creators, and it's been weird being a Kobold content creator because, like, I don't know. People expect me to be weird, to do things that I am not. I don't know. Like, every other Kobold has the yip 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 yip, which is like, it's not me. I mean, my yip is my laugh. Like, my yipping is my laughter. Like, that's part of it. Anyways. Yes, I seem very thoughtful. I pride that. That statement tells me more about how I am doing than anything else. The idea that I am coming across as thoughtful is appreciated, because I have the history. Like I said, I have this amazing history of working in anime conventions for 20 years, of working in game development as well on the side, as working in as like with all of my life, I've done so many things. I've had so many projects. I've done so many genuinely interesting things. My work for Anime Central has affected conventions across Canada and the US, across Europe, and has even been brought back to Japan. The way that I manage video programming for this convention has become, in some specific ways about it, has become an industry standard. And I am immeasurably proud of that. It is so cool. But that's what I try to do, is I try to bring this knowledge, this thoughtfulness, this expertise, this knowing, this genuine, not just criticism, but actual expertise to these games that I play. One of my favorite streamers is Brian Kibler. He focuses entirely on Hearthstone and Magic the Gathering, neither of which I play, but I love listening to him. He's just pleasant. And he always talks about the game design, the development. He talks and he focuses on what he knows and applying his expertise to the game. One of my single favorite YouTuber, Playframe, does the same thing with animation. They're an animator. They're a professional animator. They worked on Toy Story. And they're not, like, pretentious about it. The only reason I know they worked on Toy Story is because they were playing Kingdom Hearts, and at one point they said, oh, it's interesting to see how they animate these characters. It's different from the way that I did it when I was animating these characters. And that's beautiful. His expertise lends so much to his content, to his work, to his videos. There is a core knowledge, even when he's just doing a Let's Play and walking around an indie game. He's speaking as he is somebody who has an expertise, and you get to see how an expert is playing these games. And that was a big part of my inspiration to do this, is because I have that expertise. I am an expert in some fields, in several fields. And I want that to shine through. I want that to be my brand, if you will. I want that to be what I'm known for, on the YouTube side at least. And that's what makes me unique. And if anybody else is working on content creation, find what makes you unique. It doesn't have to be an expertise, but it does have to be something. And if you don't have something that makes you unique, either make something, because you can do that, you're allowed. It's your personality, and you're allowed to work on it until you are who you want to be. I have changed my personality several times in my life, each time getting closer until I truly am happy with myself. Each time getting closer until I am who I want to be. And that's what you see. You see me as I want to be. And there's something beautiful about that. If anybody else is working on content creation, that's my advice to you, is figure out who you are, and then work on who you are. Every Kobold creator you've met loves D&D. I hate D&D. Hot take. Nuclear take. I think that D&D is almost always the worst system. It's good because it has public appeal. It's good because it's well known. It's good because it has created a cultural touchstone so that everybody knows what tabletop gaming is, and I love that for it. And I don't actually hate playing it. It's fine. But there's so many good systems out there that having a specific system that does what you're trying to do is almost always better. Whether that's Thirsty Sword Lesbians, Mouse Guard, if it's a less combat-focused thing, whether that's Monster Care Squad for something that, for a more compassion-focused game, whether that is D&D 4th edition or Lancer for more board games inspired combat style games. I just think that in general D&D 5th edition is just always okay but never great. Remember that you are you. Yes, absolutely. You are you, but you are also the only person who can control who you are. And if anybody else tries to control who you are, end them. Just absolutely just bite them and never stop biting them. Because they don't get that right. They don't get the right to control who you are. Only you do. Also, if you like esoteric games, my Pathfinder game barely uses Pathfinder. It is entirely just a improv. It is entirely just an improv platform time. It is absolutely a delight, and that's why I love that game. You feel an immense sense of nostalgia listening to me. Thank you. That's awesome. Like you're listening to an old friend. Yay! I fully accept that. I will be like, if anyone is around my age, I will gladly be. I will be the sister that is playing video games on the couch while you sit and watch me. I will be the person who is sitting on your couch playing Super Nintendo with you while we just chat about things. And if you want to stay over for dinner, you can. My dad's grilling hot dogs. Just make sure you call your mom on the landline that's in the kitchen, so that to let your mom know that you're staying over for a bit longer. Okay, that's all I ask. That's the aesthetic that I want to make. That's the mood I want this channel to have. Is that? And yeah, I know that's a very Gen X feeling. I get it. Deal with it. But You missed 4th edition. It's either board game time or improv time. Yeah, hard agree. All the complaints about 4th edition were poorly handled. Are you Gen X? Now, I'm going to give a real answer to this. I'm going to give an honest answer to this because, well, I feel like it. Deal with it. So, keep in mind that generations are not based on age. Age is an indication of generation, but age is not what defines generation. Generations are a cultural distinction, not an age-related one. And I would be considered, if you go strictly off of age, I might be considered an elder millennial. But I grew up watching Nick at Night. I grew up watching Get Smart, I Love Lucy, the old Looney Tunes, by which I mean the 1960s Looney Tunes. I grew up looking forward to watching to a DVD that I bought of Abbott and Costello. Actually, no, it was VHS. Of Abbott and Costello that I could sit down and enjoy. So, am I Gen X? I consider myself to be Gen X because that makes the most sense to me. I've also never seen SpongeBob SquarePants. I've seen the memes. I've seen like 2 seasons worth of memes, but I've never actually seen the show itself, which sort of like blocks me from being a millennial. Like I am banned from being a millennial because I never saw SpongeBob or Avatar. So those 2 things block me from being allowed into the millennial club. So there's that. So that's my answer. Is that I consider myself Gen X, though if going by age, I would be right on the cusp. I would be relatively on the cusp. It doesn't matter. I'm me. I'm just me. The only thing that generations really make a difference is understanding where you came from. And I came from a culture that didn't have cell phones. I grew up without a cell phone. I grew up without internet access. I grew up with a computer that had 2 5.25-inch floppy drives and no hard drives, and I think it had 512 kilobytes of RAM. Not megabytes, not gigabytes, kilobytes of RAM. And you turned it on, you had to put in the floppy disk that loaded up that loaded up DOS, and then you could put in the floppy disk that you want for whatever you wanted to do, for word processing, or battle chess, or Jumpman, which were the 3 options that I had available to me. So, these are this is my cultural touchstone. I was, I was a bit older than when I got access to internet. I had an NES. I had a Super Nintendo, more or less in the launch year. So, these are the cultural touchstones that define my experience. and the cultural touchstones that I, you know, present, I guess, that I show off, that I highlight. But it doesn't matter, because, like, at the end of the day, a lot of my favorite YouTubers are around my age. And, like, honestly, just hold on a tick here. I had just written down a couple of I just written down some notes for myself for when I feel like I'm having a rough time of it. Brian Kibler, Playframe, Pro Jared, Patrick H. Willems, who does movie reviews, John and Hank Green, Mark Rober, are all over 40. Like, there's a lot of YouTubers who are, you know, who are a bit older as well, and those are some of my favorite channels. Like, you know, like, my age is not a barrier at all to anything. Yeah. I am going to need to breathe. I'm going to need to leave my job. And I'm going to need to not do anything for a few weeks other than stream and work on video essays. Because I have a really, really good video essay that I'm working on. It's still in the scripting stage, but every time I try to write the script, my cheeks get wet, and I realize that I'm crying, so... so there's that. And... yeah. I want to work on that for a bit. And I want to have the space to work on that, and I want to be able to work on that without panicking. I want to remove... Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Trinity. Quick, she's relaxing. Support. Quick, get her. She's relaxing. Don't let her. I'm going to put that essay on a new channel, and that channel is going to be called Kobold Industries Incorporated. An older meme from this channel, if you for those of you that remember it. Jade the Kobold of Kobold Industries Incorporated. I'm going to make that actually the channel. The classical rule is new audience, new channel. And, well, if video essays are a new audience, so I would make it on a new channel. And I need to make sure I save this channel. Oh, by the way, I might lose this channel. Oh, did I forget to mention that? Oh, did I bury the lead? Oh, well, yeah, there's a problem that I have to deal with. There's a problem. See, the channel, again, I worked at this company that was small. There was only, you know, there was single-digit people working there. So it was fine that I used that domain name as for personal email addresses. Everyone did. We had our private email addresses at companyname.com, or .net rather. This YouTube channel is associated with that company. The email address for this YouTube channel is associated with that company, with that infrastructure. And YouTube, from what I'm researching today, because I tried to do it today, YouTube doesn't let you transfer ownership of a channel. Meaning that if that company is going under, and that domain no longer exists, and that email becomes defunct, I don't know what happens to this channel. I don't know what happens to Jade the Kobold YouTube. I actually don't know. Now, I think a lot of my fans would find me if I made a new one, and, you know, obviously you guys would. And if I do that, I would be as public as possible, and I would do it alongside, like, you know, some big release, like a new outfit or a re-debut sort of situation, but I don't know what happens. I don't know what happens with this. Is the email the only association that it has? It's associated with a Google account, and the Google account is tied to that company. And I don't know. I mean, I'm the administrator. I can log into the Google Workspace account and actually look into all the back-end stuff. I don't know if that can be changed. So, hey, who knows? It's several months away from becoming a problem, but I'm gonna panic over it now because, So that's fun. Oh yeah, you wanna know what accounts I'm gonna have to transfer over that I've already started working on? Because these are all things that I've done on the Jade at company name email. Is YouTube, Ko-fi, vidIQ, StreamElements, Register.com, Keymailer, Valorant Games and Riot Games, PayPal, VGen, Sprizzy, Tumblr, Reddit, Twitter, Blue Sky co-host, VRChat, which is giving me weird errors about trying to transfer the email address over, Game Dev TV, Udemy, Fourth Wall, My Isotope, Magix Vegas Pro, Waves Audio, and Freesound are all associated with an email that might disappear. And I have access to it. It's not like I don't have a place to put it. It's not even a place that I need to worry about. I have Jade at Kobold.fun. I have, if you put in Kobold.fun in your browser, it'll bring you here. That's already done. But I don't know, because it's not I don't know how to change this. I'll figure something out. Something will happen and it'll be okay. I'm sure there is some way of transferring ownership, but the actual base method that it explains on when you Google it does not work for me. Yeah, if you look it up, it tells you about going to the Google account, and in the Google account it says you can't change. Yeah, that I know exactly what you're referring to. That's what I worked with today. And it fell flat. So what is this channel what's going to happen to the channel? Well, I mean, honestly, I'm going to keep on working on this channel for the next 6 months to 9 months, whatever. And I'm going to be, working on other stuff as well. And it's going to be fine. If it comes down to that, I'll just make a new Gmail address and make the account off that. That's not actually going to be a problem, except for losing, several thousand subscribers, but such things happen. Again, people will find me, and I can make people happy, and that's more important. That's the most important. That is what is important. And Tara. Tara's also important. Yes, Tara, you're very important. So, what happened... I want to talk about lighter things, shall we? This has been a bit heavy. It's been heavy because heavy things have happened. And, I do want to say something interesting. You know how I am on these chat streams. But in general, I want to play a character that is entertaining, so to speak. There are people who... There's different ways of streaming, right? There's a lot of different ways. And Sprig is a person who... if you're watching a lot of this channel, you know Sprig. By the way, be sure to be here on Monday. There is a special stream that I'm having with Sprig that is going to be absolutely unhinged. It is going to be completely unhinged. Be here for it. But this... someone like Sprig is real with her audience all the time. Whenever that she's live, it's just her. This is her genuine self. And that is awesome. Then you have someone like Melody or Filian or any of the, most of the, many, I guess, of the other VTubers, where they are playing a character. Where whenever they hit the live button, they are in character. The character is an aspect of them, certainly, but they are playing a character rather than just being themselves, and that is still good. That's still entertaining. There's nothing wrong with that. And I find myself somewhere in between, but more on the character end. I want people to be excited. Needy Streamer Overload. I actually have a copy of that. I wanted to stream it. I don't know if it's stream safe though. Like, that's the funny thing is I actually don't know if Needy Streamer Overload is stream safe. I am completely spoiler free on it, other than that it's, yeah. I definitely do want to play it. Anyways. My style is in between. I am real. I am myself. I am genuine with all of you. I tell you the truth of who I am. Up until it gets into... It's not streamers... Oh, okay, good to know. Thank you. Up until it gets to the point where either I don't want to release personal information, in which case I use the character, or up until the point where it becomes unpleasant. Like, if I'm having a rough day, I still want to make people happy when I stream. Like I said, that's part of my goal, and if that means putting my worries to the side and not talking about the struggles, then I do. I mean, I was in severe pain for the last episode of 2 episodes of Portrait of Ruin. I was uncomfortable, but I wanted to feel comfortable. So, I sat down, and I played it, not masking. It wasn't like I was, faking being happy or anything, but I just focused on the good. I focused on the happiness, and the excitement, and the moment, and that made me very happy. So, that dichotomy of, like, is the streamer themselves? Is the streamer a character? I guess I'm somewhere in the middle, because it is me, but me at my best. Me at what I want to be. At me in an ideal situation. It's me, but the me that I want to show. And then I'm more real in these chat streams, but... Yeah. And I think that's an interesting dichotomy, and it's one that everybody who goes into the VTuber sphere, anybody who goes into content creation, has to figure out. Is this me, or is this a character? And there's no wrong answer as long as you're consistent about it, and as long as you make that decision an actual decision, right? You actually have to decide if it's you or a character. Inside your heart is breaking, your makeup may be flaking, but your smile stays on. No. That's different. That's masking. That's where the line is. So, masking is an ADHD term. It's when the customer service smile is really this the 2-word, 3-word, 2.5-word. Is there a hyphen in there? Is the short version of masking is the customer service smile. It's the show must go on. I'm going to smile and do my job. That's not what I'm doing. That's not me. I will simply rekindle myself to focus on the positive, which is not masking. That is simply choosing to portray what I want to portray, but it's not hiding. It's not, it's not doing the unhealthy thing of hiding your feelings. Instead, it's just saying, I will process these feelings. I will feel these feelings. In the moment, this is a time where I want to be happy. Not that I have to be happy, and that's part of the difference. This is a time where I'm going to smile because I want to smile. I want to be happy. I want this moment of playing this game to fill my own heart with joy, because that's what I need right now, and I'm sure that's what my audience needs right now, and I am going to do that. And that's a good thing. That's a positive thing. Whereas if I said, I need to hide this pain, I need to act this character, I need to play this role, otherwise people won't hate me, otherwise I will lose my job, otherwise XYZ, that is masking. And that's the difference between the two. It's something I really like your description, Soma. That's actually a fantastic description. It's something to try to heal the pain rather than hide it. You have ADHD and you understand it? Yeah, it is an ADHD. It's ADHD. People are well familiar with masking. That's why so many people go into acting because of being either ADHD or LGBT, is because on both those fronts we're used to having to act on a daily basis, and well, yeah. That's not always a great thing for our lives. And that's also why I have the Discord server as a place where people don't need to mask, as a place where people can be happy and be themselves and not have to worry. This word safe space is overused, but not inaccurate. I don't think having a safe space is inherently a bad thing. I really don't. So I'd already paid for Anime Central, both the travel and the ticket. I was actually able to. I have some friends, out here, so I was actually able to stay close enough to the venue with a friend, so I didn't have to pay for a hotel at Con. So I went. Even though I had to be in a surgery sling the entire time, even though I was not cleared to do anything, I decided, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to the convention anyways. I deserve this. I need this. I did. So I went to Anime Central a couple weeks ago. About 2 weeks ago? Yeah, looks about right. And it's really interesting. That was my second time going there, not being on staff. Third? Actually, no, I went one time before I joined staff, so that was my third time being there. I had a blast. Hung out with friends. I couldn't do my Haru cosplay. I have a cosplay of Haru from Persona 5, but I couldn't move my arm enough to put it on. I literally could not move my arm so that I could put the costume on. It's like, oh no. Okay, well, whoops. So, I did bring my Dan Hibiki cosplay. I do have a very, very good Dan Hibiki cosplay, which is now a crossplay because, well, I'm, wearing it with a more low-cut black shirt with, boobs. And that was a good cosplay. That's always a fun one. Usually, I find any other Street Fighter cosplayers and go up and pose and kind of style on them and just flex on them, just sort of do one of Dan's taunts and just point at them and go, you, which usually gets a few impromptu photo shoots. They usually gets a little bit of recognition there, which I love, which I adore. Fact about Donosaur? Yeah, sure, send it. And I actually got some of that this year as well, which was good. I didn't bring any of my other cosplays. I have a few other ones that I probably could have gotten into easier, but I was really hoping for Haru because one of my friends was also cosplaying as Haru, and she was wearing the battle outfit, and I had the casual outfit, and it's like, that would have been so cool. Oh well! But, yeah, I have more cosplays that I want to make. The new Monster Hunter trailer looks amazing, and that's a costume. The handler in that, I could pull off that outfit so hard. Oh my god, I could absolutely pull off that outfit and make it look amazing. That might be my next big cosplay project. I think it probably will be. And I'll have time to make it. That's the biggest reason I haven't made a lot of new cosplays in the past couple years. It's just time. I haven't had time to make them. But hey, I'm not gonna be working. I'll see how that goes. I will say I didn't like how the video programming was handled compared to how I handled it. There was a lot less artistry in the schedules and what was showing, and that's unfortunate. Some of the video programming stuff You know, I'm just going to do a quick content warning here for 18 plus. If you're not 18, that's okay, but I'm going to be mentioning an 18 plus event. I'm not going to be doing anything explicit about it. I just am going to be talking about that it is the thing. But one of the things that I did for the convention is that back in the early 2000s, hentai rooms were creepy. They were quiet, and it was always this question of like, oh, that's a bit, I don't want to go in there. It was always a bit weird. Some of them places had the lights on, and some places had the lights off, and some places had like people patrolling it to make sure nobody was doing anything creepy in there, and it was just a bad vibe. It was just like a super bad vibe. Just a genuinely, bad vibe there. And I changed that. Not just me, my staff as well, and my my ADH and things like that. But we changed it from being creepy to being fun, and we did this by seeding the room with staffers to make fun of it the whole time, to Mystery Science Theater it, to look at it and go, "Ha! This is ridiculous! Look at that!" And sort of, pull that veil down. And once that was done, it was a completely different experience. It was lights on, English dub, with English subtitles on at the same time as the English dub, because they did not line up, and it led to some very interesting moments, like, what are they saying? And the voice actors they got for the dubs are always the worst, because they would actually hire 18 plus stars instead of actually getting voice actors, and they were just terrible, and pointing out that it's terrible was really, really funny. And we got a reputation for that. We got known for doing these hentai rooms that were hilarious. People would line up halfway across the entire convention center to get into the hentai rooms. Not exaggerating. It turned it into a weird thing that some anime fans are into an event that was hilarious, that was loved, that was funny, and, well, still sexy, because it's still showing, it's still on the screen, but now it's smiles and laughter and joy. And that was really, really cool, and that's the thing that I mentioned that has gone across, the continent and has even made its way over to Europe and back to Japan. I was the first convention, I was the organizer, to run hentai in that way. That was me. Unironically. And my goodness, it became a lot of fun. 18 plus stuff is over. I just wanted to mention that as a very cool thing. But yeah, a lot of things about video programming were not handled as well. On the schedule, they didn't have the esoterica that Jack Shadows and I usually organized it with. We tended to focus on more the kind of thing that you might go and see and go, wait, what is that? Like, in another world, as a vending machine, like, I got isekai'd in as a vending machine into another world. You see that and you go, huh? The heck? And, well, yeah, that kind of feeling of getting people into the rooms, as well as rather more obscure things that people loved and said, oh, I gotta show you this thing. Things like Time of Eve is a good example of that, but yeah. Stranger, like Serial Experiments Lane is another example of something that's a bit obscure that people would go into the rooms and be like, yo, have you seen this? It encouraged people to go to video programming, as well as comfort shows. Your Cardcaptor Sakura, your Full Metal Alchemist, your comfort shows, so people can just be like, I'm gonna go to video programming and just relax. We tried to have something from each of those categories on at all times. Something obscure, something famous and cozy, something that piques your interest as a what the heck, and a couple things that were new release, that were just out, that were just still fresh in Japan. And that's what was missing out of video programming, is there was an artistry towards the scheduling that was missing. And that makes me sad. Because that was not an easy task, and Jack Shadows is the primary one to thank for that work. That was very difficult work and very well done, that made the entire convention experience for video programming better. Because video programming serves multiple goals. One, it is the quiet place. Yeah, there's something showing, but it's a place that you can go down, sit down, and just breathe and be quiet and get away from the overstimulation of the convention and just go somewhere peaceful. It was also the place to drag your friends to because it's an anime convention. That's the anime. Hey, look at this weird thing. Let's go see it. The peaceful aspect was gone. Partially because of the manga library. They have a manga library there, which they've had a few times in the past, and that became the place that people go to be quiet, where there's a quiet room where people sit down, grab a book, and just read. And, well, that's beautiful. I actually think the manga library is a fantastic addition. But it actually does replace a part of what video programming did. Unfortunately, the manga library is not 24 hours, whereas video programming is. So in the small of the night, people would still go to video programming for that. And, I don't know, video programming felt like it was fulfilling the need to show anime rather than being crafted to fill the needs of the convention space. Without me at the head, that is. Which is not bad. It was fine. I mean, they showed anime and that's what you want at the end of the day. But I just wanted to explain and have you guys understand a little bit of the artistry behind it, a little bit of what goes into a good video programming department, and kind of just appreciate the good video programming departments at conventions in around you for the next one that you go to. The other difficulty is that anime is mainstream now. When I went to the furry convention last year, Midwest Fur Fest, I don't know if I'll be able to go to that this year. When I went to the furry convention at Midwest Fur Fest, I felt like I could talk to anybody there. I felt like everybody there was a friend and companion because we all had similar interests at the baseline, and everybody was, well, on the same page, if you will. Anime conventions were like that, and this is gonna sound real hipster. This is gonna sound super hipster right now, okay? This is gonna be like the most hipster statement in the world, but like, I liked anime before it was cool. No, it was a different experience. It was more like that furry convention where everybody was a friend, where everybody was a part of the same community, companionship, where I could sit down and talk to anybody at the convention and say, hey, what's your favorite anime? And just strike up a conversation, even as an introvert, because there wasn't that fear that I had in other public spaces about talking to people. I could just open my mouth and sit and talk to someone, and I liked that. But now, because anime is more publicly well known, because everybody knows some of anime, it doesn't have as much of that feeling. Which is interesting. I think that's actually extremely interesting. And it really showed in the dealer's room, but I'll get to that in a second. But like the general mood of the convention is still beautiful, and being able to lose yourself in convention mind is just really pleasant, because you can just open your eyes, look around, and see cosplayers, and see, these 9-foot tall statues, 3-meter tall statues around. Like, you can see these, these figures that are like, you could never find anywhere else, and it's just like, this is beautiful. You can walk through the hallways and just be like, yo, I like that character that you're currently dressed as, you look awesome. And then you could just made a friend, because you can talk to them, and they'd be like, yeah, what was your favorite episode? Or like, what other shows do you like? Or what do you want to talk about? Because you're my friend now. Because we met in this space where we're friends. We met in this space where we are inherently friends. We met in a place, and the place lowered the barrier and difficulty of talking to someone so that you could just meet somebody and become their friend. Imagine being in a mall in the 90s. Imagine being in a town square in the 1800s. Imagine being on a train in the 1850s. Imagine having access to a third space. Because that's what it was. It was a third space. If you don't know what that is, then you need to do some more research on infrastructure. But virtually all third spaces are gone or heavily monetized and priced out. That's the last great third space was the mall. Now you don't go to... Nowadays you just get in your car and you go to a location as opposed to traversing, as opposed to going somewhere and just meeting people and talking and having these cultural experiences. Those don't exist in the regular world right now. When's the last time you actually talked to somebody at a grocery store? I haven't talked to somebody in a grocery store in Sunnyside like very long time in living memory. And these conventions served as a third space. A space where you can feel comfortable talking to anybody under the basic assumption that you are both into the same things. And I feel like anime conventions are starting to lose that. Anime is so mainstream that anybody can show up and you don't have as many hardcore fans. And that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. We want it to be mainstream because it's an art form. We want everybody to be into it because it's a whole bunch of cool stuff to look at and watch and experience and be a part of. And it's a wonderful community. But it's starting to thin out in that third space aspect. It's starting to be you go to the convention and meet people who you planned to meet before you got there. It's starting to be that you don't just meet people there. And I think that's very interesting. I'm fascinated by this because the convention needs to cultivate that. It needs to actively go out of its way to create that type of space. And if it doesn't, then it just becomes a trade show. We saw already what happens when a cultural center becomes a trade show. We saw that at E3. We've seen it at gaming conventions. We've seen that at Comic-Cons. I've never been into those scenes, but from what I've heard, they are a lot less... not less pleasant, but a lot less of that convention vibe than they used to be, where you could just meet people. Now, Ferality, I think, is a good example of creating that space in VR in a way that where everybody can be comfortable at, from the comfort of their own home while still going out and meeting people, but it loses that real-life interaction. I think that the furry conventions still have that, and that's great, and I hope that they keep it, but that's still a very niche hobby. I think that the best third space that I can think of, that I know right now, are Renaissance fairs. I mean that. Renaissance fairs have that vibe still, and I love them, and yeah. And I think that the Renaissance fairs are still delightful. I want to tell a story about the dealer room now. This has actually happened last year, but I didn't mention it then, so I'm going to mention it now, because it happened again, and, well, it's extremely dumb. You see, conventions, specifically anime conventions, used to be a place to highlight things that you couldn't get anywhere else. People would bring things over from Japan. People would have merchandise that was simply unavailable, that nobody could get their hands on, that was impossible to find because, well, DVDs you just got off, found what was in the anime aisle of HMV or the local music store or the record shop. That's all you had for anime. So the convention space had all the discs that you could hope for. You couldn't get figures. Are you crazy? There was no way of getting these figures. They were only manufactured in Japan, and they didn't export them. They couldn't just, acquire these kind of things. They were exceedingly rare. But now, they're not. By and large, anything I saw in the dealer's room, I could have gotten off of Amazon. Is this a good thing? I don't know. I honestly don't know, because it's so complicated, frankly. It's such a complicated situation, because on one hand, yes, I have access to anything that I want off Amazon. On the other hand, I'm losing this scarcity, this rarity, this unique experience, this once-in-a-lifetime moment to find the thing. Oh my gosh, look at this figure. That's incredible. There's a loss of that excitement. There's a loss of that hype. Because things are so easily acquired. And again, I know I'm coming across as a hipster. I get that. I mean, it's true. And last year, I found a really cute statue of Yor from Spy X Family. And I said, man, I want that. That is $35 American. Well, okay, I'll think about it. Then I walked a little ways later and I saw somebody else had it. I'm like, wow, I really want that still. I'm gonna have to probably come back. They have it cheaper too. They have it for only $30 US. So you know what I did? I pulled out my phone, found it on Amazon, and ordered it to be sent to me for $17. And I felt bad about it. I really did. It just didn't feel right. It didn't feel like that was what a convention is supposed to be like. That isn't the convention experience that I had hoped for. That wasn't the dealer's room that I liked and that I loved in the past. It was a completely different experience. It was still awesome to see all this stuff in one place, but it didn't feel as special anymore. And that's where that hipster side comes in. That loss of specialty, that loss of feeling like you had something special because of scarcity, because of rarity. And again, there's a complicated emotion there. I want it to be more popular. I want it to be more available. I want to be able to just get it off of Amazon. But I also want the convention to have things that I've never seen before. And it did. But not in the dealer's room. Where the convention shined, especially this year, was Artist Alley. The dealer's room had stuff that you can get anywhere. It had amiibos. Yeah, some of the amiibos are pretty rare, but by and large, you can get amiibos off of eBay, right? You can get amiibos off of Amazon. You can get most anything from the dealer's room anywhere. The benefit of the dealer's room is showing you that it exists and giving you that thought of saying, oh, hey, that's the thing I hadn't seen before. And bringing that desire of saying, oh, yeah, sweet, I want this. But it was tainted by this feeling that almost nothing in there was special. But that's where the Artist Alley comes in, because these are all independent creators. These are all independent people making things, crafting things, drawing things, making their own prints, making handmade earrings, making stuffed animals that they are selling that are their own creation. They have that scarcity, that rarity, because that's a unique thing. Could you buy it off their website or their Etsy shop? Maybe, but you would have never known it existed. You would have never seen it. You would have never recognized that it was there. Do they have some pictures that I had seen on Twitter? Yes, absolutely. But here, they're selling those Twitters in photo resolution prints for $20 a pop. All of a sudden, that is the ability to own something rare. That is the ability to get something unique. That is something that nobody else in your friends group has, that nobody else has seen. Something that feels more important. Because when everything is available everywhere, it doesn't feel important anymore. And that's what the internet's done, is that a lot of things don't feel important because they're simply everywhere. I remember when Pocky was a strange esoteric snack that I had to go into the city and go into the Japanese district of city and buy at one of the stores in there. And like, that made it feel more unique. Now it's in Loblaws. Now it's just everywhere. And again, this is this complex emotion of saying like, yes, this is available. I can get this to, on my regular shopping trip. I can have this whenever I want it. Conflicting with, this is no longer special. This is no longer a treat. This is no longer a special experience. And that's what a convention at the end of the day is trying to sell, is trying to be a special experience. And if it's not, then why would you go? Why would you spend upwards of $1,000, $1,000 on plane ticket, housing, food, and badge, if the bulk of what's there, you could just have anywhere? I mean, yeah, there might be a concert you want to see. Honestly, yeah, conventions, concerts are good, but some conventions, a lot of conventions, are charging separately for the concert. Like, you have to go to the convention, pay for your convention badge, and then buy a concert ticket. And that's too high. That's just too much money spent for something that should be the reason you go to a convention is for a unique experience. I had a good time. I felt a flicker of what the convention used to be like. A flicker that was absent last year. Last year when everyone was still recovering from COVID. Last year when everybody was still scared. Last year when, in Chicago, at least, and again, it's America, so this is more common anyways, but last year in Chicago, where there was this feeling of fear everywhere, where nobody was talking to anybody because there was a pervasive fear permeating the convention space. And that had lifted slightly, and it felt so good. It felt so good to see that, and I hope that it grows, and I hope that it expands, and I hope that it focuses on these unique experiences, and I hope that it becomes more of a viable third space to go to enjoy, to meet other people. I want that feeling where everybody is my friend, where I can go to an anime convention and trust that everybody there is there for the same reason that I am, is there as somebody who I haven't met, where I can just talk to anybody and say, hey, what anime do you like? And I tried that this past trip. Me and my friends were sitting eating, and someone was sitting on a couch next to us. And I don't remember what the question was. It was some basic thing. I don't remember, like talking about filler arcs or something. And I just turned to the person next to me and said, what do you think? Just involved him in the conversation. He would have looked less surprised if I pulled a gun on him. He just was absolutely flummoxed. Once he realized that I'm actually serious. I'm including you in this moment. I'm including you in this conversation. You are a part of this convention with me, therefore you are my friend on some level. You are someone who I can talk to with a baseline of trust that we have the same interests. He's just started talking, became part of the conversation in a way that you can't get at a grocery store, in a way that you can't get anywhere else, in a way that I haven't seen outside of a convention space since malls existed. Since malls with arcades and DDR machines existed. I haven't had, like, this ability to just say, hey, how's it going, to someone since I was playing DDR in a mall. And there's probably other arcades out there. There's, like, what are they called? There's a name for the big chain that does a whole bunch of arcade things. I'm also very much gesturing with my hands, even though my right hand is in a sling and I don't have hand tracking. Just imagine it. Just imagine the hand gestures. You don't worry, you'll be fine. There was a lot to like about the convention. And I hope that they learn from it. And I hope that they learn from it and capitalize on it, because it deserves to be capitalized on it. It is a wonderful feeling of community when done right, and and comparing it to last year, I've seen it done right and I've seen it done wrong. I don't know where else these third spaces exist. I don't know. I actually simply do not know where a generation that didn't have malls, that didn't have arcades, that didn't cost $1 bazillion. I mean, and pricing people out of third spaces has always existed. Country clubs exist as a third space for the rich. I mean, that's always been a thing. You know, you pay your country club membership for the ability to be in the country club, simply as a way of gating out anybody who can't pay for that. And I don't like the thought that anime conventions are going in that direction. And part of it is just the economy. Part of it is the fact that the entire world doesn't have as much money in our classes and reasonable people classes. Money is tight for everybody, and corporations are pulling in record profits. We are being harvested for money, and it is unpleasant, and the only way to solve this is with the guillotines. But that's a discussion for another day in another channel, perhaps. But we are seeing convention spaces and these be priced out of the range of a lot of people. And that's sad. I don't know what can be done about that other than, even the convention space itself, they're not going to charge less for a badge, because the bulk of the price of getting there is the price of plane and hotel. That's the bulk of your expense, is your travel expense. And short of restructuring in a way that enforces a more equitable distribution of wealth, I don't see a way of fixing that problem. That's not even a convention problem. That's a problem that affects conventions. That's a convention problem indirectly. But it's one we're going to have to solve as a society pretty soon. Jade, the Kobold infrastructure channel. I mean, I've thought about it, but, other people have already done that so well. I can do video essays and find a space in that region, but on gaming and about literature, doing but infrastructure space between Climate Town and Not Just Bikes, and there's a lot of really good infrastructure channels out there, and I don't think that my voice would add too much, because that's not where I am an expert. That's not where I have expertise, That's not where I can be the best. And there's places where I can be the best, You have to focus on that. You still say buy a Scottish castle and turn it into a Kobold Den commune? Honestly, yeah. Unironically, I think that we are going to see a large upswing in communal living. That is to say, people who are living with, 3 to 4 families in a large home that are all splitting the rent together. I think that's going to happen a lot more often in the future. And yeah, the idea of buying a Scottish castle and, just putting everybody there, or making a content creator house, getting one of those houses where you have 6 different content creators who have their own spaces, would be incredible. But there's a lot of things in the way of that. And I don't want to give up this house. But, hey, it is still definitely worth considering. And honestly, for anybody out there, contact, like, you know, contact a bunch of people and be like, hey, if we split this rent this many ways, could we rent a mansion? Could we rent a 6-bedroom mansion with 6 different incomes contributing? Honestly, you probably could. Or buy it. Or buy the land and build it. Or buy the land and, you know, make your own little tent city, because that's also an option, you know. Have keyhole gardens and have a communal fire pit where you all gather together and just, you know. I think things like that are going to have to happen at some point. I think it'd be pretty awesome. I made it out to the hot springs today. It felt really, really good on my shoulder. Just sitting in the hot springs, relaxing. Very pleasant. I needed it. That's always a place where I can meditate, where I can just relax and, you know, process. It's a place where I can either just go out and just exist in nature, or, more often than not, if I'm being realistic, a place where I can take my laptop, download a couple of episodes of something, or maybe a couple of YouTube videos, and then play them for an hour while I'm just lounging in there. But I couldn't go until recently because of the surgery. And luckily the water was not knives. And it felt good. I needed that. I really did. Give me a moment to settle and reorganize things. Hey, Tuzzy. I think that was from Souls. Wasn't it? That wasn't that batch. Yep, Solanum gave it to you. The water is not nice. So sometimes pHs change. I mean, it's the hot springs. That happens, right? So every once in a while, either the water is acid or the water is knives. Sometimes the water feels like it's going to be burning your skin when you get in it. Sometimes you just kind of feel random sharp stabbing things. And I think that's because of a low pH, whereas the burning is from a high pH. I don't know. Sometimes things it's just unpleasant. Sometimes it's not fit for, you know, people to go into. If I do get that librarian job, I'm going to have to just completely redo my wardrobe. I'm going to have to go like full dark academia, like the grays and blacks with like can I pull off tweed? Can I pull off a tweed shirt? I might be able to. I don't know. I got to figure out what I'm going to do if I get that job, because if I get a library job, there's no way that I'm going to be a librarian and not go full like dark academia clothing outfits. Like you gotta, right? At that point, you gotta, you know? How is my skin? Good. I need to moisturize, but good. Dress as Aizawa the librarian. I was thinking of dressing up as Agnia of Agni from Octopath. That was my dress-up plan. Oh, do you mean? Oh, so I was just looking up Aizawa. You mean the one from My Hero Academia? Okay. Nah. Oh, that's kind of funky. That's kind of funky. Swipe some bread. Want some? I would love some bread. That would be phenomenal. Tasty, tasty breads. I am off my diet. Again, money is about to be, you know, a thing with the jobs going away. So, as much as I love my diet, as much as I, you know, love being in the keto diet, I haven't been on it for a little while, and I won't until I get a new position, because I need to be able to eat whatever I can eat. The bread song is amazing. I love that song. So yeah, breads and rice, specifically, mostly rice, honestly, I mostly have rice, are back on the table. I will show you. Where's Agnea as scholar? Really? You're not going to give me any sprites? I'm just going to search for it and it's not going to... Okay. Where's the... Wow. Okay. I'm just going to try and pull up a picture of Agnea as scholar. Where's the wiki? There's the wiki. Found it. Okay, I'm gonna pull this up in just a sec. There it is. That's Agnea's scholar outfit. I could totally pull that off. I could absolutely pull that off. I would look fantastic in this. Absolutely. Agnea is the best. Agnea is the best girl. What about waffles? Gosh, I haven't had waffles in years. Should put rice in a bowl on the table. I mean, situational, you know? Sometimes you just want to put rice on the table and... You know, lick it up. It's fine. I'm not going to judge it. No one else should either. But no, I agree that, with going keto. The thing I missed the most was rice. Keto bread is good. Like, I still want to buy keto bread whenever I can afford it because keto bread just is good. It's just bread with less calories and carbs. There's no reason not to use keto bread for everything if you can afford it. But rice, I'd never found a good replacement for. Cauliflower rice is good, but it just is not the same. So, that whenever I had a keto cheat day, it was almost always rice and curry. Because I love curry. Wasn't the last waffle you had in... Yeah, they had the Vegas Denny's pancakes. Those were... Oh boy, that sure was an experience. I don't regret the experience. I regret giving them money. What a good time. Bah. For those of you out of the loop, I went to Vegas Denny's and recorded some video for a YouTube short / TikTok. Because I wanted to see what the Denny's was like in Las Vegas, and it was still a Denny's. I thought it was going to be like the best Denny's because it's Vegas Strip and they have some of the best food in the world, so I thought there was going to be Denny's on its best behavior. And maybe it was Denny's on its best behavior, but that's not saying much, okay? Jack has the greatest idea, which is always a terrifying thing to hear. Anytime in my life, Jack Shadows says I have the greatest idea, I both tremble in fear and tremble in anticipation because it's going to be phenomenal and awful. It's true. It's generally be known as one of the worst days in the... I did not know that, actually. So right now I have a couple of video essays that I am planning on writing. The first and most important one, by far, is a video essay about Throne from Octopath Traveler 2. See, another piece of advice I'll give you to any content creators is don't only play games on stream. If the only place that you play games is on stream, you will burn out much faster. You will burn out so fast. Have games that you set aside to play off stream, off of content creation, off of other people. this is the best advice that I can give you. Have something that you have just for yourself and keep it to yourself. And for me, Octopath Traveler was that. Usually Monster Hunter is that as well. I have a couple other games that I play that I don't stream. But Octopath Traveler 2 is just a phenomenal game, and Throne's storyline is probably the best written story about generational trauma and overcoming it that I have ever seen. Genuinely. And I have a lot of words to say about it, but every time I start to write my script, I start like crying. I just like find a whole bunch of tears on my cheeks, and it's just like, okay. It's a lot. It's very emotional for me, at least. So that's going to be my project, my next my big project I'm going to start working on. Well, not start, but I'm going to be working on for a new video essay channel. Is going to start with that one. And then I have some other ones. I thought about doing some of these as TikToks, but the more I look at them, the more I have to say. Like the idea that of cultural ADHD. It's not true. It's actually not. Like, people are like, oh, the TikTok generation, there's no attention span. They only care about 30-second videos. No. I mean, TikTok's a great platform, and I love it. But, like, Baldur's Gate 3 is an 80-hour epic storyline that is well regarded by most people as one of the best games of all time. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth takes a 40-hour storyline and splits it up into, like, what, 200 hours across 3 games? You take a 40-hour storyline, and you take the same storyline and give the characters a chance to breathe, give the characters a chance to interact, to build this companionship that is implied in the original, but never really highlighted, never really shown these bonds that you simply assume are built over the course of it, and it's incredibly slow-paced. It's good game from what I've seen, but, like, that is the opposite of, like, of what people think is the only thing that sells these days. That, and, like, on the YouTube side, everyone was talking about how, you must be doing shorts, you must be doing 10-minute videos. The only thing people are doing now are these, is back to the meta of doing short 10-minute videos, 10 to 15 minutes. And then Jenny Nicholson dropped her 4-hour masterpiece on the Star Wars Hotel. Mooncat dropped a 3.5-hour essay debunking the entire discourse of evolutionary psychology. Game Maker's Toolkit dropped a 2-hour-long essay. They've only ever done 15-minute videos in the past. Philosophy Tube dropped a 100-minute dissertation on a frankly very obscure philosopher, Judith Butler, someone who a lot of people have not read, and they got a full feature-length movie video out about it. Alexandra Avelia dropped a 90-minute video on how conservatives strawman gender. And in addition to that, Atun Shea Films just released their hour-long video on of the final Checkmate Lincolnites about the American Civil War. And, like, really? People are still going to say that there's no attention span with people nowadays? Are people really going to keep on, hammering that concept into things? Like, I felt like doing just a TikTok that was basically just that. Good night, Tori. Thank you. Like, are people really going to try to push the line of, kids these days have no attention span? Like, when everyone, like, of the kids that I know are consumed by playing Baldur's Gate 3 for hours at a time. Are we going to pretend that there's no attention span when Jenny Nicholson got, how many views does that video have now? For a 4-hour video on a hotel that failed? Like, no. People's attention spans are fine. And there's also more to the story, because in the 1930s there was a famous picture of a train where everybody has their face in a newspaper, and they talk about how, people are always have the newspaper, no one talks to anybody anymore, and it's the same argument. The same argument was made when trains first existed. The same argument was made all the way back to ancient Greece and Rome, of saying that the kids these days have no attention span. They have no attention span for reading the literary classics, I believe, said Plato. And, like, the idea that people younger than you, and again, people younger than you can be at any point in human history, presumably in the future as well, the idea that people younger than you have no attention span and like things that are objectively bad has always been a narrative of every generation of mankind. Like, that's just a consistent complaint. That's a consistent thing that people say, and it's just wrong on its face. It always has been, but it's so persistent. And, like, yeah, there is drivel out there. There is your skibbity toilets, and The Amazing Digital Circus ain't that good. It's okay, but it's not that good. Like, it's fine, and I get it, but it's doesn't have, like, you know, the artistry and the masterwork of exposition as, say, Lackadaisy or Adventure Time, though that might not be fair comparing it to an actual production release for Adventure Time. Like, there's plenty of, you know, weaker kids shows, but there's also, like, Amphibia and Gravity Falls, which are stellar writing. And the simple fact is that 90% of everything is garbage, and that 10% still does better than the rest because it is better. And hopefully my streams are part of this, but hopefully my streams are on the better side because, you know, I'm working off of this fine arts degree, I'm working off of this improv acting experience, I'm working off of this vocal training, I'm working off of so much that's built me up, but, like, if one of my friends who, you know, gets more viewers than I do and they have no background in any of this, then I'm happy for them. That's a good thing, and they will learn. One of my friends never went to college for animation, and he's a fantastic animator. He effectively created the principles of animation himself, Tony Stark style. Like, I learned the principles of animation from college. I learned these principles of how animation works and how to make an animated character appealing, and meanwhile, Great Dictator made these animations in a cave in the middle of a desert. Not actually, they're from yeah. Are they public about where they live? I don't remember. They're Eastern European, though. And it's like, that's amazing. They've effectively, you know, backfilled their knowledge of animation through simple osmosis, through simply watching things and learning themselves rather than having, you know, having it through study, and that's amazing. But it's different, you know? Does it make sense? I don't know if it makes sense. Hello, Damon. The wisest master is an eternal student. Yeah, that's just true. It's Dunning-Kruger. Its Dunning-Kruger effect is a more modern example of that. But Socrates said that the wise man knows that he knows nothing. Dunning-Kruger effect says that that until you reach a certain threshold, you may think that you know what there is to know about a topic, and as you learn more, you will realize how deep it is and how much more there is to learn. And boy, let me tell you, that's true for VTubing, that's true for YouTube, that is true for everything. It's just true. It's just a fact. And yeah, Dunning-Kruger syndrome. As you learn more, you realize how much more there is to learn. But when you don't know enough, you think you have a good grasp on it. Despite not. If you don't feel like that, then you need to realize that you are working from a place of ignorance. That's just always going to be true. If you feel like, I got a good handle on this, I'm good at this, you're working from a place of ignorance. Look, convention work is something that I can be considered an expert in. Convention work is something that I could be considered a master in. For 20 years, for redefining the landscape of of a part of the anime industry, I know full well that I could have done better. I know full well that there's more that I could have done, things that I could have adapted, changed, improved upon. I know full well how much more could have gone into that. And in no small part, the fact that I do feel that way tells me that I do know a lot. You know? That's how life works. That's how progress works. That's how growth works. And that's as true for anything as anything else. Genuinely. That's going to be true for content creation. That's going to be true for content appreciation. You know, the ability to watch something and get more out of it as a critic, or through a critical eye, or even as a simple viewer. You have a lot of people who say, "Oh yeah, I'm a VTuber. I'm good at it," and then you click on their stream, and there's 2 minutes before they say a single word with dead air in between. I don't have dead air. I have dramatic pauses. And that's something you have to learn. That's something that you have to grow into and appreciate and understand, and those that don't appreciate it, those that don't understand it, those that don't learn from it, inevitably fail because they're not doing enough. They don't know what they have to do better, and 9 times out of 10 for the VTubers, it's dead air. Just realistically speaking, 9 times out of 10 for VTubers, it's the ability to fill the air with something interesting. It doesn't even have to be good. I mean, like, honestly, half my jokes don't land. Half my jokes are not funny to anybody except for me. And I know they're not funny. But I believe that I can still be entertaining in those moments. I believe that I can get an eye roll or a smile out of somebody. And I believe that they will also enrich the experience. My commentary or my voice acting may enrich the experience of the game. My thoughts while playing it can help bridge the gap between watching a silent Let's Play and feeling like you understand what the Let's Play is about, understanding what the gameplay is about, projecting my experience of the gameplay to you, to show you what it feels like to play the game. And it's fun. I love it. And that's where a lot of VTubers, especially the younger generation, fail. Is their commentary is either just a string of really dumb, lewd jokes, which... whatever. There's an audience for that. I'm not going to pretend there ain't. Or it's just full of dead air, waiting for something interesting to happen so that you can say something interesting, instead of just opening your mouth and letting words fall out until you find the right ones. And the more you do something, the better you will be at it. Don't give up. Keep doing it, and you'll get better. And as you get better, you'll get better, because you'll understand what getting better means. And as you continue to improve yourself, you'll see other ways to improve yourself. Sometimes, and I don't even know if anybody here has noticed this, when I'm talking in a little bit of a rhythm. Not exactly on beat, but I'm talking in rhythm to the music. Be honest, has anybody ever noticed that? I was a trombonist. I was a concert musician. I've played my instrument to 30,000 people. Music is a part of who I am. I don't play it anymore, and I don't think that it's really something I can go back to. There was a big difference between when I, got out of college and I went from playing my instrument alongside people of my age who had played for 5 or 6 years, and then seeing a concert orchestra and being like, oh, everybody there has played for 40 years, and I can't be a part of that. I'm not good enough. I went from being good enough to not being good enough. That's just the honest truth of it. And I miss that, honestly. But a part of that music is another thing that I could be considered an expert in. Not, necessarily writing it, not necessarily playing it, not necessarily, I don't know what you could call it, but I mean, I played to a 30,000 person live audience. That's a pretty big deal, I think. But there is a part of that affects who I am. It's a part of what I do. It's a part of what I bring to my streams. And I think that is important. Not that specifically, but having something to bring. If you haven't lived an interesting life, what are you bringing to your streams? What are you doing? What are you bringing? What is of interest? Is there a certain cadence that you have? Is there a certain style that you have? If so, what makes that style your own? What makes you, in terms of speaking on VTubing, in terms of making stuff? If you watch my stream and then you go watch another stream, you'll see the differences. Go watch me and then go watch, like, Ina or, like, I don't know, Mume. It's a completely different style. Go watch me and go watch Playframe. You'll see inspirations in there. You'll see, ways that watching Playframe inspired me as a creator, but you'll also see that they have their own completely unique style. Saikuno, Disguised Toast, AlphaRad, Jade Animations, they all have very, very unique styles that are their own, that are inspired by all of the things that they've done. Sometimes it's that inspiration from expertise, like with Kibler or Playframe. Sometimes it's an inspiration of excitement. I don't watch a lot of the really loud VTubers or streamers where that are constantly yelling, but you know the kind, and they're bringing a part of that experience into the landscape and into what they're doing, and cool, good. That's something that there's obviously an audience for that. There's a lot of people that like that. That's not me. I can't please everyone. I can only please the people that like me. And all I can do to do that is to bring my experience, my knowledge, my professionalism, and my idiocy into the streams. Just make no mistake, I am dumb as a brick. But I am a brick that has had a lot of interesting experiences in my life. The best thing that you can do as a content creator is learn things and just do things. It sounds dumb to say, but get inspiration. I don't know where your inspiration comes from. Maybe it comes from hiking, maybe it comes from rock climbing, maybe it comes from sports. Maybe it comes from somewhere else entirely. Maybe it comes from your family life, maybe it comes from your lack of a family life. Maybe it comes from your job and the struggles therein, or maybe it comes from your job and how much joy it brings you. I, at the end of the day, am just a dumb, gay, trans lizard who plays video games and says words on the internet. And sometimes that's good enough. Sometimes that's all I need to be. And I'm proud of what I've done, and I'm proud of who I am, and I'm proud of these experiences, and I'm proud of how far I've come, and I want to go farther, and I will go farther. I have so much to learn. And I'm learning every day. Every stream, even if I don't come up with a new trick or a new thought or a new bit or a new strategy or a new content plan, every stream is a stream that I've done. And that alone helps. That alone helps me build my own repertoire, my own expertise, my own style. Even the thing that I've been doing this entire time, you've noticed it, you had to have noticed it, the way that I've just been making some pauses and then changing the way that I speak, interrupting my own cadence, sometimes in times with the music, sometimes intentionally offset of it, sometimes completely different. And every once in a while, I will build up to something because I have something important to say. I have an important thing to say. I have a voice to say it with, and I want it to be emphasized. So I will build up to it, and I will crescendo what I'm talking about until it comes time to plateau and let that thought settle. I don't know where I got that from. I don't know anybody else who does that. But that's me. That's just genuinely how I talk when I'm really excited about something. That's how I talk when I'm interested in something, and that's how I'm going to be talking in my video essays, because that is me. To me, that sounds more interesting. The dynamic part of the discussion is dynamic in my voice. The dynamics, the dynamics of who I am come across in how I'm trying to present myself. There is a saying in the martial art that I study. It's a saying because the Grand Master says it a lot. And, well, the Grand Master is amazing. He's absolutely baller. Don't move like me. Move like you. I love that phrase so much. It's so good. Because you shouldn't try to copy, even when you're doing martial arts where you have a set goal, a set path, a set motion, a set effect that you are trying to create in the other person. Don't try to do what the Grand Master is doing, because they are them, you are you. Try to create that effect with whatever motion you need. And as you practice that, you will learn more, and you will find how to create that effect effectively, how to create that effect in a meaningful way. You will find what it means to move like you. And I have found what it means to move like me. I found my voice as content creation, and if I do need to start a new channel because of this one not being able to continue because of the issue I mentioned before with work, I've still learned. I've still found my voice. It might even be a blessing because a new channel gets pushed harder, and this time when the channel begins to push me, I will be better than when I first started all that time ago. Maybe that will take off. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe making streaming onto a new channel might actually be what I need to find a new audience. To find more people and still maintain as much of my current audience as I can. I don't know what the future's going to bring. I don't know, and I'm still scared. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to move forward. That doesn't mean I'm going to stop. It means it's even more important for me to figure out what going forward means for me. And right now I think it is going to be to keep on doing YouTube and to take a break from conventional work. To see where that takes me. And then maybe try to find a job that brings joy to others. I think that would be great. And if it doesn't work, then I'll have to do something. But I'm not at that point yet. We'll see where life leads. Let me respond to some of the comments. I wanted to finish all of my thoughts in a row before I got back into reading the commentary. You don't like having consistent... Trinity doesn't like having consistent lewd jokes. I mean, big same. I understand the appeal. I get it. But I feel like if that's only a single bit, if that's like just the thing that you do, it's either going to get old or you're going to attract the wrong audience. You're going to attract people that are going to make you uncomfortable. That's the bigger danger. You notice the pattern of speech but hadn't connected it to the music, and it's not really even intentional. I just noticed that I had been doing it when I watched some of my VODs. Also, if you do content streams, watch your own VODs. Watch your own VODs. I mean it. Not all the time, but every once in a while, watch your videos and learn from it. Learn the moments where you pull out your phone and stop paying attention to yourself and say why. Learn the moments where you lose yourself as an audience. Learn those moments where you see a stutter, or you see a mistake, or you see something that you want to change. and then change it. It's not easy, but it's easy to say. Get good. A very cute blue brick. Aw, thank you. Can I just say that one thing that I hate? I've gone back and forth on this because I kind of felt like I had to. One thing that I had to do, just by being in the VTuber/furry communities. The whole I'm not cute game that people play is absolute garbage. I hate it. And I kept up with it because, well, that's expected, and it does create content engagement. It does encourage other people to, you know, push back. And some days I'm not feeling great, and sometimes, like, you know, I will push back and say, I'm just me. But, like, I think that I've seen so many people take it so far, and that kind of disgusts me. Just the people who are so depressive about it, people who are like, you know, who fight against it tooth and nail until you just kind of want to give up and say, fine, no, you're wretched, I don't care anymore. And I don't want to play that game anymore. I am a brick. But you know what? I appreciate being called cute. I might not always agree. I might, and especially in some cases, like if you're like, oh no, you're good at a game, like, no, I might just tell you, no, I'm bad at the game. Like, but like, in general, seeing the, I get it. I get why people do it, but there's a certain points where it becomes uncomfortable for everybody involved. My content has flipped switches in your brain you didn't know existed? Well, thank you. I want people to feel comfortable enough watching me that they have that opportunity to explore themselves, to explore their own thoughts. I want people to feel comfortable enough around me that my areas are a safe space for them to present themselves. Do you have any idea how many people have come out on the Discord server of Jade the Kobold? Link in description. No, for real. A lot of people have felt comfortable enough there that that's the first place that they came out as some form of LGBT. And I think that's beautiful. I'm so proud that I can make a third space. I can make a space where people can meet each other. Do you have any idea how many people have actually met and gotten into a relationship with the common feature between them being that they both watch Jade the Kobold from koboldindustries.com at youtube.television.com? I can think of 2 off the top of my head, and that's a lot. Like, I am proud that I can make a third space, because in effect, that's kind of what this is. This is a space where people can be themselves and be open. And I hope my content is educational in some way as well, you know? Whether that education is talking about game design or just, you know, giggling at things in Castlevania, I hope that there's something that is learned from that. There's something that is taken away from that as you know, as something valuable. I want to provide something valuable to people. And I believe I have been. And that's what makes me happy. And that's why I'm going to keep on doing this, because it makes me happy and it helps other people. What more could I ask for? What literally more could I ask for? Even if I end up having to get a garbage 9-to-5 job, you know what? I'll still have this. And I want to thank you for being here for me, because I can't do this alone. I can't do this without anybody watching. If I'm not bringing this to people, then I'm not getting as much out of it either. Everything that I've said is reliant on you guys. You guys caring, you guys watching, you guys appreciating, you guys being interested, you guys being curious, you guys being open, you guys being thoughtful and mindful, you guys listening. And that's why I do this. I want to make people happy. And I believe that doing this has been making people happy. And if I didn't have an audience, if I didn't have people following me, if I didn't have thousands of people across, you know, YouTube and TikTok, I wouldn't think that I was making people happy, and I would quit. So thank you for being here. The fact that you're here means that I mean something to you. In some way. In some fashion. In some facet. And that means this is all worth it. Have I watched the Van Helsing with Hugh Jackman? I do not know which one that was. Feel free to toss any other questions in chat. I'll go for a few more minutes longer while answering any questions, though. I'm about ready to wrap up, head to the Discord channel, and start watching video essays, if anyone wants to join. And don't feel compelled to join Discord, by the way. I know there's a lot of people who are just watching this on YouTube or watching this on the VOD. And I plug Discord because it's a cozy place, and that's where I post most of the time. That's all. At the end of the day, my primary social media is YouTube. This is where I'm proud, and this is where I am. This is what I do. And thank you for making what I do worth it. Thank you. Good night, friends. And I love you. And I mean that. Not even in a superficial, like, you know, I love everyone. Not even in, like, you know, a cheesy sort of dumb way. I do love you. Even if I don't know you. Even if this is the first video from Jade the Kobold you've seen. The fact that you showed up, the fact that you listened, the fact that you got this far in a random chat stream, my god, thank you. Thank you. I love you. You can have love in your heart for people who you do not know. You can have love in your heart for people who you have never met. And there's still enough love in this world for all of us to appreciate each other. So, good night, friends, and I love you.